Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Solving Problems. Today I'm going to be discussing the mains from Defenders of Equestria, their playability, what kind of decks you could build around them, everything like that. I'm going to go through them in number order, so let's get started at number 1. The first thing to note with all of these mains is that to turn them over, you need to confront a problem. So take into account that your starting problem needs to be easy for you to confront so that you can get them online and going. So, Rainbow Dash Wonderbolt has your flipped cards have +2 power. Now when I look at this card, it feels like a sort of blue control main, which is a bit odd, but okay. Frighten control used to be a thing, so sticking this with purple or white makes a very efficient and probably quite annoying blue control deck. Playability wise though, I'd say it's fairly low, just because a lot of other colours can do the whole troublemaker control thing a lot easier and can just splash blue if they want to make it frightening. Unfortunately for this card, blue isn't really designed to do control, and there's a lot better aggro. Applejack Tooled Up has immediate, during a face-off, exhaust this card to flip an additional card. Now, it's quite a simple ability, but the implications of it are quite large. Being able to flip an additional card in a face-off helps you stall behind troublemakers and just win double face-offs on the regular. So I think a card like this kinda likes mid-range to control level strategies that do quite well against other decks that like causing face-offs due to your extra flip. So, not a bad matchup against epics, etc. Its foil will be aggro, but you can board in a lot of controlling cards like Bailout, etc. to sort of curb them down and stall them. Throw in a few troublemakers and there you go. Orange-purple probably I'd say is a good combination with this. Definitely feel like this main's quite playable in comparison to Rainbow. It's a good card. Pinkie Pie Cruise Director has immediate, during a face-off, exhaust this card to put a 1-power Earth Pony Friend token into play. Now I'm going to be perfectly honest here, this card is not very good. It's pretty bad. But if you feel the need to build with this card, the best advice I can give is splash yellow and get some cards like Baton in. Conductor's Baton meaning that you could start creating, 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 powered Earth Pony Friends in combination with cards like Belly Flop so you can retire them and get value out of it. It's a lot of what Pink Yellow seems to want to do with its multicoloured cards, retiring spare friends to use them for other abilities. Sort of just keep that theme, see if it can be controlling with Dismissal, so you can get Troublemaker face-off so you can get an Earth Pony every turn, and see how it goes. Don't think it's going to be very good though, but you can at least try. Princess Twilight Sparkle, Professor Sparkle, has immediate, pay 1 to give a Troublemaker +2 or -2 power until the end of the turn. Now this main can have 2 very simple decks built around it. Obviously, they both include Troublemakers. The first one is Epics. The good old farming decks. If you use her ability to just put their power to 0 and then beat it really easily, there you go. You've done the entire deck list. Throw in your traditional controlling disruption type cards, Napcakes and all the likes, and there you go. You've got a probably very solid deck that wasn't too difficult to design. The other one after this is Troublemaker Control in the more traditional sense where you sit behind a non-epic one, confronting one problem a turn and keeping your opponent out of the game. This one you'll obviously want to splash a colour, and to be honest, almost every colour combination for this deck is pretty good, except for yellow. Blue-purple brings Frighten in terms of removal, pink obviously brings Dismissal, white brings a bit of banishment, etc. I think pink is probably the best just for the immediate dismissal in the form of food, fight and rolling turns, but it's all an experimentation. You figure out what's best for you. Completely solid card and one of the best in the set, easily. Rarity Fashion Mogul reads, when an opponent starts a face-off, you may exhaust this card to banish one of their friends until the end of the face-off. Now this is quite a simple and easy to build around Troublemaker Control-esque card, because you just get rid of any other friends that are at the face-off and then use other forms of removal on everything else, and sort of just keep propagating from there. The reason behind choosing this over, say, the Twilight I just talked about is because you have to invest no action tokens into using the rarity in the first place, and so you have action tokens free to do all other kinds of disruption. Purple's a fairly easy choice to go alongside with this, just for extra action tokens and some good Troublemaker buffing cards. Not too complicated, I think you'll see the deck lists form. So, Fluttershy Nurturing Nature reads, at the start of your score phase you may exhaust this card to contribute its power to confronting a problem. This is a very, very obvious aggro card. Just go with blue, or any other colour you think could make this deck aggressive, so pink I guess for spamminess, and just go for it. Get very little power to one of the problems if you've always got +3 at the other, because of her ability to exhaust and just confront. Real simple, just aggro them out as fast as possible. Thorax the Changed Changeling reads, this card has +1 power for each of your friends with 2 or less printed power. It also has a home limit of 5, slightly larger than average. So this card has a very, very, very obvious deck type. You kind of just want to spam the board and make Thorax huge. So your staples are Zipperwill and Fluttershy Critter Caregiver, just so that you can always have critters, meaning that Thorax's power will be over 10 at least. After that, it's kind of a choice of if you want to build it mono-coloured or if you want to splash secondary colours. Purple's not a bad choice because yellow-purple tokens is a little bit of an archetype. You know, exact duplicate, just gonna be a bit ridiculous. After that, blue's also a good choice, you know, extreme sledding a main with a 10 power isn't bad. But for me, I'm currently experimenting with pink, as you never spend too many action tokens on moving things as everything's so large, you quite often have spare action tokens for cards like food fights, etc. It also gives you access to an extra critter spam event in the form of the pink-yellow song. I'll get to you with what the deck list is like later, as I just need to test and test and test to get it to a pretty good form, because right now it's just kind of okay. And so I'm going to say from bottom to top what I think is the order of playability of these mains. In last place is Pinkie Pie. I think that was fairly obvious. I don't think anyone's ever going to play with this unless they really, really want to, for some reason. After that is Rainbow Dash, just because so many mains have done similar-esque feels to what she does, but better. Applejack after that, still pretty good, but the other cards in the set are just a bit better than her, I feel. Next is Rarity, going to be really nasty to play against, really annoying, but edged over by the other cards in my mind. Then there's Fluttershy, really good aggro card, but cannot compare to the top two. And this one was really tough. In second place, I ended up putting Twilight. Even though she's completely ridiculous and I have loads of different decks built around her, I still think that Thorax deals first place, just because his ability is so ridiculous and makes your main completely insane levels of huge. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. So, I'll say here that hopefully I should have a video out next week and the week after that. We'll have to see, because life could be hectic out of nowhere, I don't know. But I do have plans to actually make those videos and get them out in these time limits. Just because it's so much easier to talk about everything while there's a new set. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.